With the new Spider-Man No Way Home having just swung into theatres, we thought it's only right to rank every single Spider-Man film. Hey everyone, it's Elliot from It's Gone Viral, and today we're going to be ranking every single film featuring everyone's favourite wallcrawler. We're going to be covering all of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland Spider-Man films, as well as both Tom Hardy Venom films and Into the Spider-Verse. But before we dive into the video, please don't forget to like it, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future celebrity interviews and games. Also, a quick warning for those who haven't managed to watch all of the films just yet, we may be talking in depth about the plot and the events of the film, so here is your official spoiler warning. But now it's time to slip into the Spider-Man suit, put on our web shooters and see which Spider-Man film is currently the greatest of all time. Now coming in last is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now I think it goes without saying why this one is last, as this Spider-Man film ranks low on pretty much everybody's list. But this film is let down by the amount of villains it forces into the story, trying to set up 3 brand new villains whilst also focusing on Spider-Man's relationship with Gwen, as well as the plot in regards to Peter Parker's dad. It just tries to do too much at once, and unfortunately it leaves the film a confusing mess with no real payoff at all. However, we will say that this spider suit is probably one of, if not the best, but other than that, there is not much to enjoy about this film.
Harry, put her down!
Coming up next is the latest release, Venom Let There Be Carnage. Now this film could have been amazing, it really had potential, but we feel like this film tried too hard to be funny, and unfortunately that really hurt it for us, as well as its underdeveloped and unused side characters. But I think the biggest problem that lets this film down is it being forced to be a PG-13. Having Carnage, a blood demon from another planet, with no blood and nothing graphic to really make us fear him other than the horror style intro he gets. It just doesn't give us what we wanted. The final third of the film was fine, but the run up to that and some of the choices that they made just unfortunately makes this very low on our list. Coming up next is the other Venom, and again we wish it wasn't so low on this list, but unfortunately it is. This film also just didn't live up to its potential at all. It shares the same problem as its sequel where it just tries to give you gore and chaos, but with a PG-13 rating, which is just too noticeable to forgive. As well as the bizarre plot and characters' choices throughout the film. Why did Venom not want to destroy the Earth? Because he saw San Francisco was pretty?
Your world is not so ugly after all.
And not to mention that the fight scenes aren't the greatest. To hide the average CGI, all of the fights happen in the dark and it just can get incredibly confusing as what's happening, and overall we just thought it was more wasted potential. Even with Tom Hardy and the rest of the cast's quite good acting.
Mask! Copy!
What the hell is that thing?
Next up we have The Amazing Spider-Man, the film debut for Andrew Garfield's web crawler, and we hate to have both films so low on this list, but the first instalment was also quite a bit of a letdown for us. The reason for Spider-Man becoming Spider-Man in this film is out of revenge. He hides his face so that the people he attacks don't recognise him, and that goes against everything that Spider-Man is about.
Uh-oh. Somebody's been a bad lizard.
With a mediocre story and the lizard's bizarre plot for some reason wanting to turn everyone into lizards as well? We just don't understand it. However, we will give credit where it's due, and this film has some great fight scenes and some wonderful acting for all of those involved. But overall, not a film that we're dying to rewatch anytime soon.
Well, that was something.
Next on the list is going to be Spider-Man 3. Now, we don't think this film is as bad as most people say it is, however we do think it is the next in line, as it struggled in the same areas where Amazing Spider-Man 2 struggled, in that it tries to do too much and kinda shot itself in the foot. With Venom, Sandman and Little Green Goblin Jr. all fighting for the spotlight, it can get a little bit confusing. However, as a finale to the Sam Raimi trilogy, it actually hits the same tone and notes as the rest of the films before it did. But unfortunately it does stand out for being the weakest of the trilogy. But with some great fight scenes, great acting, besides that infamous scene. Yeah, you know the one. We think Sam Raimi did a great job with this film, and it probably would have been much better without the studio interference that it encountered. Coming in at number 6 for us is Spider-Man Homecoming. Now this film is absolutely fine and well worth watching. The only problem is that the film spends a little bit too much time with Iron Man. After the events of Civil War, we were ready to see Spider-Man shine in the spotlight. However, the focus is still very much on Iron Man, and it doesn't feel as much of a Spider-Man film as we was expecting, even though story-wise it completely makes sense. But other than that, this film is fantastic. Tom Holland's amazing performance as Spider-Man, with Michael Keaton as the Vulture, the cast absolutely carry this already great film and make it something 100% well worth watching.
Hi, Spider-Man. Band practice, was it?
In 5th place, it is going to be Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, the original film that made Spider-Man even more so of a household name. This film feels like it's been ripped straight out of the pages of a comic, and it is absolutely amazing. From the over-the-top fighting scenes to Willem Dafoe's incredible portrayal of Green Goblin, this film will have you instantly in love with it from start to finish, and it is truly one of the best Spider-Man films to date. Even nearly 20 years later, it still holds up as one of the greatest. It nails everything it tries to achieve, and we can't think of a single complaint. Now coming in at number 4, we have Spider-Man Far From Home. This film takes Spider-Man out of his depth by sticking him in a foreign location with monsters and magic, and that is exactly what the sequel to Homecoming needed. With some incredible fight scenes, comedy and acting in this film, it's simply fantastic, and your jaw will be on the floor for quite a lot of it. Not to mention Jake Gyllenhaal's amazing portrayal of Mysterio, as well as his relationship with Peter.
You need to wake up!
This film is definitely worthy of the 3rd spot, and we will be enjoying this for many, many more years.
Come on, Peter Tingle.
Taking the bronze spot is the smash hit Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, we remember looking forward to this film a great deal, however, after seeing it, we could not believe it was as good as it was. Not only is the entire film and animation absolutely stunning from start to finish, but somehow it manages to handle several different Spider-Men whilst making sure Miles is still the main focus without the overall plot getting messy.
Miles, you're doing it on command!
It's about time, right?
And with so many incredible moments and attention to detail, we guarantee every time you watch this film you'll see something that you didn't before. With perfect animation, amazing voice acting and some quite genuine tear-jerking moments, this film is more or less perfection, and that's simply the end of that.
That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
Like, what's up, danger?
Now, runner-up for the best Spider-Man film is going to go to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. This film is perfect from start to finish and nails absolutely everything about Spider-Man that we love, whilst also giving us a bit more. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock is our favourite Spider-Man villain to date, and it is hard for us to praise this film on anything without it just being obvious.
Easy now!
Butterfingers.
This truly is a definitive Spider-Man experience. It is simply perfection, and there is a reason why most people would rank this so highly on their list, and we have to agree. And surprise, surprise, the Spider-Man film that we would say is the greatest of all time and taking home the gold goes to the new and incredible Spider-Man No Way Home. This film is just a treat from start to finish. From the first half dealing with Peter Parker having his identity revealed, but then 3 generations of villains joining together, and at the end, the 3 generation of Spider-Men. I don't think there was a quiet cinema in the world when Andrew and Toby came through those portals. With so many absolutely incredible moments of awe and jaw-dropping fan service, this film magically ties in every single film that came before it, and there are no words that can put into context the feeling of joy and excitement when all 3 versions of the Spider-Man were swinging around together. And we also have to mention the incredible moment of Andrew Spider-Man redeeming himself by catching Tom Holland's MJ. This film is simply perfection, and we doubt a Spider-Man film is going to be able to dethrone this for a very long time. So there it is, guys. We do hope you enjoyed and hopefully aren't too offended by our list, but we think we've done Spider-Man justice. Please let us know down below your rankings of the Spider-Man films, as we cannot wait to read your opinions. Thanks again for watching this video. Remember to like and subscribe for more content, and thanks again for watching It's Gone Viral. See you next time.